Well, welcome back to our C# tutorial series. In the last tutorial, we successfully printed text to the console and ran our program. Now we're going to learn about variables. So you might or may have not remembered variables in math. For example, algebra. We knew we were always trying to find x or y, and each of these variables had a value, and we're trying to figure it out. But in programming, it's we're not always trying to find the variable. We usually set the variables and we use them later. They just carry information for us. So I'm going to go over some basic variables you'll probably need to know. The first one being an int. Okay, so in C#, this is short for integer, but we just call it an int. And this is basically any basic number. It can be negative, it can be 0, it can be positive, it just can't have decimals. So we can say int number equals 0. Okay, so what we're doing is we're basically saying, C#, I want to make a new variable, I want it to be an integer. I'm going to call it number. This is the identifier. This identifies that variable. Here, for in algebra we might have int x. You know, we want to create a variable called x, and x is equal to 0. We might want to have another variable, int y equals 5. Okay, so we have two variables, x and y, and we can do a lot of things with these. We're going to learn them later, but right now we're just going to print them to the screen. Very simple. So we're going to say x is equal to, and we're going to say plus x, our variable. And you see, C# or this Visual Studio program, it automatically recognizes the variable we made, and it will show it in our list. If you see, if I press x again, you see it'll show even y too. See, it shows all our variables that we made, but I'm just going to press x because we want to print x. And then I can copy this, and I can change this to y, and say y is equal to y. And this plus thing right here is basically saying we're going to combine this word or these letters with this number. So if we go ahead and run this, as you can see, it says x is equal to 0, which is what we set the value to, and y is equal to 5, which we did right here. Okay. So once we've declared, this is declaring a variable. This is basically allocating memory for our new variable. Once we've done this and said, oh, int y equals 5 or int x equals 0, C# now knows that what those variables are, and we can do things with them. We don't have to declare them again. So we can just say, if we want to change the value of x, for example, we say x equals 5. Or actually, let's say 7 to make it different. So if we go ahead and run this, x is equal to 7, because what it does is it goes down the line. First it runs this code, it runs this code, runs this code, runs this line, runs this line, runs this line. So first x is 0, then it becomes 7. Pretty simple, right? We could do some mathematical functions with this too, but we're going to go over that a little bit later. I'm going to show you another variable type. It's called a string. Okay, I'm going to get rid of our x and y. Yeah. Okay, so what a string is, it's basically a string of characters. And characters, they're just letters, you know, they're whatever we type in. So a string of characters, it's like if you have a bead necklace, and each bead is a character or a letter. And a string is basically the whole necklace combined. So a string, we can name it, for example, name, and we can set it to Salad Raider, my YouTube name. Okay, so right now we made this new variable, and it's going to carry a string, or a series of characters. And what we can do with this is also print it out. So we can say write line name. And we could do a similar thing with the integers. We can say my name is, and then combine it with our variable. Press play. This might not seem very exciting at first, but you can use these things to do pretty powerful stuff. Okay, we can even do this. We can take away this. We can make another string and say last name, and we can rename this first name. Okay. Oops, messed up. There we go. And we can do something like this. My name is first name plus, we want to have a space in between our first and last name. Last name. See, it says my name is Salad Raider. Same output. Okay, so you know how I showed with ints where you could change the value after you've declared it by saying it's a string. So right here we said it was a string. We're going to call it first name and we're going to set it equal to salad. So when you declare a variable, you don't actually have to do something where we call initializing it. So we don't have to initialize this. We can just say, compiler, we want to make two new variables, first name and last name. You don't have to give them a value necessarily right away. We just want to create two variables, so just allocate some memory for us. Then later in our program, we can say, I'm going to introduce some new thing that you may or may not have seen before. It's two double slashes. This is a comment. Basically, what comments are is they don't affect your program, but you can add little notes. So think of them as sticky notes or something. You can just easily add to your program to remind you of things, so or to label things. So we can say initialize, probably spell this wrong, string vars, string variables. Okay, then we can say first name, and note we don't have to put that string keyword in since we already initialized this. We say first name equals salad, last name equals Raider. Okay, you're probably like, yay, okay, we've seen this before. Now tell us something different. Okay, there's a special variable type that stacks on top of the original variable type. It's not really a variable type, it's sort of, here, I'll just show you what it is. It's called constant. Okay, you might have heard this in math as well. Constants are variables that cannot change. They have a constant value. So, as you can see, we have to initialize it here in this case. So we're going to say salad. And later in our program, what if we wanted to change the name, first name, to Bob? It's giving us an error. By the way, errors are anything that's underlined in red. So if you have something underlined in red, that means you have an error, and you can always look at your errors down here. You see this, so one error, and it tells me what my error is. The left hand side of an argument must be a variable, property, or indexer. Okay, so this is a constant. It cannot be changed, so it won't let me do this. So that's what constants are. It protects you from changing values. This might sound dumb right now because you might say, well, why don't you just remember not to change it in your program? Well, you can, but when you're working with a large group of people and everyone's changing the program, it's helpful to have something that will forcibly remind them not to change the variable. So I think I'm going to end this tutorial right here. You just successfully learned a couple variables, integer and a string. You've sort of got a gist of what they are and how to use them and how to print them out to the screen. You learned also what a constant was. So like, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Thank you.